Hello friends, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So today question is very interesting one and I came across this question last week, and the question is, as a scrum master, share your top 3 fear. Yes, you heard it right. As a scrum master, share your top 3 fears and what you are doing to overcome those fears. So that's the question. So looking forward towards your answers on Monday. Bye. Have a nice long weekend, guys.
About today's question, fears for me as a Scrum Master. Uh, Before I start with the response, just sharing something. I don't perceive any fear as a fear as such. I rather perceive it as a challenge, which in turns means an opportunity for me to grow. So the first challenge for me or a fear is related to technology, wherein whenever I'm working with multiple different teams, it is very likely possible many times that each team is working on a different technology. But for me to learn all those technologies just so that I can be an effective Scrum Master, it would be uh, practically very difficult for me. So what I would rather do is, because I know a few technologies uh, which in which I'm excellent at, and a few which I know I'm good at, I use those to do a comparative understanding and then build my discussion based on that whenever a situation comes up. So whenever a developer or a team member is sharing their challenge, I would rather compare it. Okay, if it was a different technology, or if it was even this technology, I sit with them, I try and understand, put up an analogy with the technologies which I'm good at or excellent at, and then I see what can be the possible solutions for those. I of course don't uh, suggest the solutions, but rather I say, okay, what are the solutions that he is thinking or she is thinking, and then we discuss, okay, what is the most likely thing to do, or what can be done. So those are a few things that I do with my team members. Sometimes when there is no possible solution, let's say the team member is very new, in that case, I would try and use my networking skills and ensure that I get the best person in contact with this team member, so that they together can then move towards the solution. So that's one uh, challenge that I see, and the opportunity is here. The opportunity lies in for me to even grow my network beyond what I already know, to the people who I know, and then to the people who I don't know. At the same time, whenever I encounter a new technology or a new concept, that's another opportunity for me to learn how this particular concept, let's say arrays, how arrays are written and executed, or exception handling is done in this particular technology. Now I use this learning in my next challenge whenever I face related to technology. So that's first. Second is related to impediments. Now, it's not like every time whenever an impediment is raised to me or brought to my notice, it would be same, right? Uh, there are very diverse number of challenges, issues, impediments, whatever you call it, but there can be any number of things that can turn into a blocker for the team. It can be related to access, it can be related to infra technology. They don't know certain people, a particular person who is in need, it's not available. They're not able to communicate their problem effectively. There can be a number of problems, right? For me to overcome this challenge and convert it into an opportunity is, I try and take it one after the other. So every time an impediment is brought to me, I see what can I do. If there's if it's a new impediment, so let's say if there's a particular person who is not available but is really required for us to resolve this particular blocker, I try and figure out what would help him. I try and reach out to his team members, or try and replace or try and see who is an alternate person who can help us. So that way I grow my network. I see, okay, if not 30 minutes, can he work with us for just 15 minutes, and we prepare all the things in advance, we share everything in advance. So that becomes an opportunity for me. Another opportunity here what lies is, what I do is I try and see, I try and be associated with the community of Scrum Masters, wherein someone else is sharing their challenges, their impediment that their team is facing. So what would happen is eventually sometime in future, if my team also faces a similar challenge, or if same challenge, what I can do is I can then come up with, okay, this is something that we can try readily, or this is what I've heard of, try this approach first and let's see if it works. So this is one thing that I do. I try and expose myself to different challenges, different situations with which I grow, and that again becomes an opportunity for me. While this will be an ever increasing thing, impediments would never be finite, and it would always keep on coming from the team side. It's always something that I can learn about. Last is, um, for me, striking a balance between multiple different stakeholders that sometimes becomes fearful, challenging, because each person has its own need, each person has its own working style. So what I try and do is I figure out what's their working nature or working style is, what's the best communication way with which they respond very fast and very effectively. Is it mails? Is it just a small message on Teams? Is it a quick call that they want, and then the things can move faster? Whatever it is, I try and work with them in that respect. Now, many a times people don't want to be accountable for things. Maybe they are not really accountable for things, or they are not responsible, but they are just consultants, and we are trying to put them as accountable. So we need to understand, are they responsible for stuff? Are they accountable for any issue or any blocker that comes up, or should we only consult them? Sometimes people want to be informed whenever things are happening, um, rather than consulting them. So we need to understand the need that they have and work with them in that way. So that balance is very important, and that's something for me to know about people, and uh, to to utilize and leverage it for that, for my team.
Hi Sanat, for this big question, to being as a Scrum Master, what are all the fears you are having and how you are uh, going to take some measures to overcome those fears? So to begin with, first fear what I'm having is that lack of understanding or ignorance of so many techniques and strategies, which really help me and my team to enhance our skill set and to solve some problems. So of course we may fumble in so many difficult situations, but still if you are very much aware of the techniques and having in-depth knowledge is essential, I believe, because we can answer in general or some overview, but what is the real meaning and core in-depth value we are having is something different. So that kind of knowledge I would like to gain. So for that I have to read lots of books about these techniques and strategies, and so many things. In addition to this, I have to mingle with experienced people who are in industry, at that too, like an agile coach or some kind of coaches, to learn those things, which really helps my team to improve their productivity, and for me it can help me to enhance my skill set. So this is the topmost fear: lack of understanding and ignorance of so many techniques and strategies, which I can learn, which I can gain that by reading so many books and so many blogs, by watching your videos in our channel. So these kind of things really help us a lot. And the second fear what I'm having is that when handling the conflict situation, that too especially, we know a couple of team members, we had made some good relationship with them, but at one point we tried to coach them on their skill sets and so many things, to if they are not aware of things, and at one point if they are not performing well, not at one point, we are good personally with them, there is no big issues or any misunderstanding to be with them, but still on the technical perspective, on the work perspective, he or she is not doing well, and the remaining team members or uh, saying this continuously that we are not getting sufficient input from her or him. And even though we may have so many talks with her or him, and after so many coaching as well, if she or he is not ready to scale up themselves, they are just standing on their position, what they are saying. So then that time it is really really very tough, and I'm gaining some kind of fear how we are about to train them to scale up them. Of course we will implement, being a scrum master we know how to handle people and we are learning every day. But in this kind of situation, like personally we are very good friends as a team, uh, personally in the sense not only for a scrum master, being as a team member as well, everyone is good. There is no big gap between all. But still, on the work perspective, on the behavioral side we are good with that person, but on the work perspective we are not at all good with that person. So this kind of conflict situation really makes me to worry to escalate, not to escalate, of course we won't escalate in scrum, but still after so many things, if we are trying to coach them, we have provided so many knowledge transitions and so many space to develop themselves and groom themselves, but still they are very reluctant and resistant to take up things and start to progress, then it might be very challenging for the team members to give some solid good outcomes, right? So in that case, team member may report to their line manager directly. In that situation, being a scrum master, I'm little nervous, like how we can overcome this, whether we can retain that girl or boy, or as per the team member's suggestion we have to find some replacement for him or her, because all the team members are not good with the technical side, of course not in the behavioral side. So in that case it is kind of oscillation situation between brain and heart, I could say. See, sometimes we cannot.
Hello everyone, today's topic is as a scrum master, what are the three biggest fear of yours and how you can overcome these three fears. Now, first fear for me is the role expectation. In many organizations, the scrum master and the project manager role are often mistaken, and they might ask some of these scrum project management activities from your side. But it's a fear for me because I haven't done this kind of activity or haven't experienced this project management earlier. So if they ask me to perform some of the task, or whether they might ask to use some of the tool, in that case I might not be able to perform that particular activities. And project manager ensures that the projects generate revenue, or the business generate revenue through the project completion, task and activity completion. But whereas the scrum master are solely responsible to implement the scrum framework and to ensure that teams are definitely following all those activities or the ceremonies within the team, or and so whenever you are wearing a shoe of a scrum master, it will be very difficult to perform the duty of a project manager. These two roles are entirely different, so it won't be fair enough if you as a scrum master are performing the project management. The second fear could be from my personal experience. It will be the anxiety which I feel during the production releases. Because your team had done good job, the feature whatever they have developed is ready to be used, but to push that feature in the production environment, it needs other team also to be involved. There is some environment team, release team, other performance testing team who used to be perform all the entire feature which is going to be live, whether they are performing good or it's slow down the processes. Release team will take care of each and every releases. Environment team will update on the instances where the code supposed to be moved from one step to another, like one dev environment to the test environment, to the load environment, to the stage environment, then the prod environment. So you have to look into this entire process very carefully. Your team will be busy with other stuff like to resolve any particular bug in the regression cycle or in the UAT phase. So at the time, as a Scrum Master, you need to check on this entire process, and you need to update the team time to time, and it's a very hectic job. The third fear could be the similar kind of fear which I have discussed earlier, the role expectation, because sometime when I talk to the developer and they started explaining the thing in a technical way, I feel little bit bothered because that time I'll be totally blank and I won't be able to understand the technical part. So because I'm not technical, I don't code much, so it will be difficult for me to understand. And this particular fear enforced me to think that whether I should learn a coding for that, to understand this particular thing, or to resolve the problem of the developer, something like that. But after that I realized that no, Scrum Master role is not a technical thing. It's not at all that you can technically help the developer, but in case if you feel that they are facing any technical difficulties, then definitely you can get a POC for them. If they need any help from a technical person or any expert or any architect in the organization, you definitely give the POC to the developer, or any PO has any concern, or PO has or the